Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
It's true, and I am Corinne Caputo, writer, funny person, friend to the universe.
You sure are. You just made me laugh. You did. You're so funny. Hi, everyone. I'm Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist, a folklorist, and friend to the universe. Mm-hmm. I love the universe so much. The universe gave me a great gift today.
It did.
It did. I have been, just some personal news, I've been trying to find an apartment in New York for several weeks, which is a long time in New York because things move fast here. And the universe just granted me an apartment.
Yay! Moving can be so stressful, so I'm glad that that piece is firm.
Thank you. Thank you. What has the universe given you lately, Corinne?
Oh, that's such a good question. I just visited a bunch of friends in LA, and it was so invigorating. It was the best. That's such a dramatic word to use, but I really felt so excited, and I'm just grateful.
I'm glad. And it's still green. It's still all green over there from the rain.
It really was,
it's
which
nice.
is shocking. I mean, it's funny how different the greenery is in general from the East Coast. Like, I'm only looking at succulents and that, but it looks so lush. It was crazy. And I know that's not the standard, but it was really beautiful.
It's definitely lying to you, trying to draw you
coaxing
over
me.
to the west
They're
side.
like, come to the... And then I forget that it's, like, deeply polluted. Like, there was a hazy morning, and I was like, oh, look at the fog rolling in. And then it was like, no, that's bad.
The other OG word, it's smog. Not fog. But we aren't dealing with any smog here. It is a beautiful day as we're recording. And we are currently on a horse-drawn carriage ride through Central Park. It is a beautiful early spring day. The birds are chirping, the flowers are out, and I am looking forward to smelling this horse poop.
Oh, yeah, you're looking... Oh, I forget that you love that smell.
I do love that smell.
I love the smell of gasoline, so I totally can relate to a smell that other people find horrible. This smell isn't for me, but that's why we're a great pair.
That's why. I mean, it'll poop and we'll walk away from it. So it'll be fine.
I don't have to be in it, yeah.
But as we are sitting in this horse-drawn carriage today, thank you, sir, for listening to us chat up there. As we're in this horse-drawn carriage, we are going to be talking about another scientist. This is another bio episode. And today's subject is eventually Dr. Claudia Alexander, who was a Black geophysicist and planetary scientist.
I love the name Claudia.
It's a cute name.
It really is. But I would be thrilled to walk us through some of her early life.
Yes, please. I want to know where she came from. I want to know why she got into what she did.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't have as much, like, niche info about her as we have from some of our other bio episodes, but I think I found some fun stuff. So Claudia Alexander was born in Canada on May 30th, 1959. Birthday's coming up.
Word.
But she grew up in, as she described, a sleepy little community of orchards and oak trees in Santa Clara, California.
Oh, I also grew up with oak trees. That's so nice.
I did think of you. I was like, oh, like a quieter upbringing and then getting into science. She was in the center of Silicon Valley, so I don't know how quiet it was, but I know California can like be pretty spread out. At least from my week in LA, this is one of the things I learned. I'm
You're
all knowledgeable now,
so I believe you.
Exactly. She grew up during the computer revolution that was happening there then. Her mom was a corporate librarian at Intel.
Sick.
Isn't that fun? I am really curious what a corporate librarian kind of does, if they just like keep the records of the company, I guess.
That's a good question. Yeah, keeping records of the company, or like, when I think of a librarian, I think of someone who just has all the answers, or at least knows how to find it.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's like a little help desk in the middle of Intel, and every time they have a question, they go to her.
I am curious if it's a job that like lasted through the computer revolution, because it seems like it's something that we've maybe outsourced to just like Google Drive or something. But very cool. So later in life, Claudia did an interview with NASA, and she was asked to describe the first time she made a personal connection with outer space, which is always such a fun thing to hear. And she said, it wasn't exactly a connection with outer space, but at the age of 5 or 6, the film Fantasia opened an imaginative pathway of wonder for me about worlds other than Earth, primitive worlds, and how huge geologic forces can impact life forms there.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that so cute?
Can we review Fantasia? I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either. I've heard it's like very trippy.
Okay, let's do it.
That's such a funny thing for us to review, but I'm into it.
Look, if it's good enough for Claudia Alexander, it is good enough for us.
If it's going to spark our interest in planets as well. Okay, so Claudia went on to study journalism at UC Berkeley. Or wanted to study journalism. But her parents weren't okay with it. She told NASA, or NASA asked in that same interview, how did you end up working in the space program? And she said, my parents blackmailed me. They really wanted me to go to the University of California at Berkeley, but they would only agree to pay for it if I majored in something, quote, useful, like engineering. I hated engineering, but during an engineering internship at NASA Ames Research Center, I found myself sneaking over to the space building all the time. When my boss realized that I enjoyed spending my time there, he placed me with a scientist, Dr. Ray T. Reynolds, in the Space Science Division. That's how it happened.
Wow, that's such a cute story.
I really like that. I think that must have been scary to, like, be studying something you don't like.
Yes.
And, like, going as far as, like, you kind of have an internship in engineering, and it's like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah, that's gotta be rough. And there's so much pressure on you at that stage of your life to figure out exactly what you want to do for the rest of it, that when you feel like you've been forced into something that isn't enjoyable, it can feel pretty hopeless. Yes. I'm really happy that she had someone in that internship who took her over to the side that she enjoyed more.
Yeah, I feel like lucky that path got crossed too.
Yeah. And I totally relate to having parents who want you to be scientists. When I started taking folklore classes, my mom was not thrilled.
Like, what about that one?
That's not what I trained you to do.
Yeah, I went to college to be an elementary school teacher, and then while I was in college got really into improv comedy, which is so embarrassing. And then it kind of opened the world. Like, I didn't realize TV writing was a job, and then I did, and was like, well, obviously that's what I want to do. But I didn't discover that until like halfway through college. Yeah, it's just fun to like find the thing that you really like.
And she did. Good for her.
She did. Okay, so I want to mention her personal life quickly because she reminds me of you, Moiya, because she had this like second interest, and hers was really in writing and fiction writing, or like kind of a crossover of like educational writing. She wrote children's books, including some of the Windows to Adventure series, one of them including Which of the Mountains is Greatest of All, and Windows to the Morning Star. And I was trying to figure out like what these books are, and it's kind of like a Magic School Bus type series. So I'll read you the premise, which is, while exploring the old orchard after school, which feels like obviously maybe roots from home, Angie and Rashad discover a magical creature, an old broken down window calling itself Abogado.
A window?
A window. Windows to Adventure. When Abogado volunteers to take them places, Rashad readily agrees, while Angie is not so sure, wanting a little more information about the safe uses of the creature's abilities.
I'm with you, Angie.
She's like, how are we going to use this safely? Wait.
Rashad, what the fuck are you doing?
No. The creature's magic can only be accessed by asking questions. Angie asks about the current word assignment they have for homework. The word is greatness. Abogado takes them to visit Earth's mightiest mountains, and they explore from there, which I thought was so fun. And she also wrote science fiction.
Oh, yeah. Do we ever figure out which mountain is greatest of all?
I'm sure the book tells you, but you don't get that preview. You can't.
Oh, damn.
They're teasing it.
That question's going to bother me for the rest of the day.
I love that the word assignment is greatness and not like mountains.
Yeah. Like it took a leap. Oh, you want to hear about greatness? I want to tell you about mountains.
Exactly. Like, we can interpret greatness in any way. But anyway, she was also a member of the Romance Writers of America. She used her writing skills to contribute to, like, other passions. Like, she played tennis. She wrote for, like, a tennis blog as well. And she traveled and horseback rided. Yeah, she just seems like she was really cool.
Yeah, like, she had a life outside of science.
Yes.
And that's important and kind of rare.
Yeah, I think that's rare for so many people who, like, really dedicate themselves to work. And I'm sure in academia it's, like, way worse. But yeah, it's just nice to remember that, like, I feel like she could go to a dinner party and, like, not say what I do. It's like there's a whole world of, like, oh, I just finished writing this and I played tennis and I did whatever, which I love.
I love that for her. Good for her. Yeah, we are in this carriage in her honor because she liked to ride horses. I know, Corinne, you do not like to ride horses, but I wanted to be horse adjacent for this episode.
I think that's thank you for considering me. And I can get pulled by a horse, but I won't ride a top one.
Right. Behind, not above. I understand your preferred prepositions.
Exactly.
So she went to UC Berkeley. So she graduated with a master's in geophysics and space physics from UCLA, just staying in the California area, in 1985. Not 1895,
I know, I see
like
in
my
the
notes say.
It's like 1895. I thought she died young. She actually died so old.
So old. No, she finished in 1985. After getting her master's degree, she worked for a little bit at the United States Geological Survey studying plate tectonics. That was a short stint. And then she moved to NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, or JPL, and she worked as an instrument representative for the Galileo mission, which we talked about in our last episode on Jupiter. She was an instrument representative for the near-infrared mapping spectrometer on board Galileo. So as an instrument representative, it's her job to talk to different parts of the team, kind of as an advocate for this instrument, making it the best science tool that it could possibly be. She worked there for a few years, and then in 1988, she enrolled in a PhD program at University of Michigan, where she studied space plasma physics. Fascinating. Yeah. I'm guessing that space plasma physics is very connected to the sun and its plasma and its solar wind and the stream of charged particles that the sun sends out into the rest of the solar system. So that's what she was studying. Her advisor was Tomas Gambassi, who is a space plasma physicist. So she didn't just do space plasma physics. She studied a whole bunch of stuff in grad school. She modeled comet formation. So we've talked about the core accretion model for planet formation before, but we have a lot more to learn about how comets form and how they evolve over their lifetimes. So she studied that. She also wrote a paper about the solar wind. So comets, solar wind. She was doing some work with Venus and Jupiter. And she finished grad school. She got her PhD in 1993. So 5 years. 5 years is kind of a long time, especially since she already had a master's degree. But I think that's because she was doing all this work. So it took her a while. While she was in grad school, she got involved with outreach programs, and she was especially interested in working with kids of color and students from the inner city of Detroit, which is nearby. And for that work, she was named the University of Michigan's Woman of the Year in Human Relations in 1992, so the year before she got her PhD. Aww. It's good for her.
Okay, that reminds me again of the show I Think You Should Leave to drop it in 2 episodes. Because there's a sketch about the baby of the year. Who will be the baby of the year?
Oh no, I want to know who the baby of the year is.
Wait till you meet these babies.
You and I, Corinne, I'm saying it now. You and I were babies of the year when we were born.
Absolutely. And I say that it's an insult to my twin brother, who was also a baby at the same time. Parentheses derogatory. Better. Yeah. You're derogatory.
This is why I only make podcasts with people who were born in different years from me, so that I can say that and it's true.
And exactly. We would never overlap as baby of the year.
Never. But she was really instrumental in getting some, especially young black women, black and brown women, to finish high school and to pursue careers in science. So she did great work.
That's very cool.
After her PhD, she went back to working at JPL, at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and she did so much stuff. So at first, she started working with the plasma wave instrument, again on the Galileo spacecraft, and that mission taught us a lot about the entire Jovian system. The Jovian system is Jupiter and its more than 90 moons. So it's a big system to study. There's a lot of information that you could potentially gather. The Galileo spacecraft discovered more than 21 moons of Jupiter. So, we know of about 90-something now. 21 of them were discovered by Galileo, the spacecraft, not the man. The man only discovered 4. The spacecraft also observed a very thin atmosphere on Ganymede, which we talked about in our last episode. Ganymede is the most magnetic moon. It's the only moon in our solar system with its own magnetic field. And Claudia had done a lot of work on Ganymede. She had modeled it before she worked on the Galileo mission, and based on her models and other scientists' hypothesis around her, everyone kind of assumed that Ganymede was like a chunk of rock, that it was inactive, that it didn't have stuff going on inside. They definitely didn't expect it to have an atmosphere. They expected it to be frozen. But the Galileo spacecraft observed this thin atmosphere, and Claudia was so surprised that when she saw the data coming down from the spacecraft, she was surrounded by other scientists and engineers, and she said out loud, "I don't believe it." But of course, she's a good scientist, so she did not ignore the data. She used the data to shift her understanding of this moon that she had already studied to make it an even richer understanding. So she worked on that instrument with the Galileo spacecraft, but she eventually got promoted to project manager for the entire mission. She was actually Galileo's last project manager. So the Galileo mission, it was launched in 1989, but it ended in 2003 by careening itself into the atmosphere of Jupiter, and Claudia Alexander got to be the person who sent it flying into Jupiter's atmosphere because she was the project manager. So that's very cool.
That is
happened
really
in 2003.
fun. I was wondering that when we talked about it, of like, how did that, was that like on a timer where it just took the jump? But it's nice to know that someone was like, now it's time.
We thank you for your service, Galileo, but it is time to retire and die. That was the first big mission that she worked on, but she had an illustrious career. So starting in 1998, she overlapped a lot. She's still working on Galileo, but in 1998, she also started to serve as the U.S.-based project scientist for the Rosetta mission. The Rosetta mission was a European Space Agency mission designed to be the first spacecraft to land on a comet, so that we could learn more about comet formation, more about their orbits, more about, we've seen tails on comets. They have these big, streams of molecules that come off of them as they're orbiting around the sun. And so we landed on a comet and got to study that in person, up close, which is really cool.
That was what we did at the Space Center with the kids on the comet mission. They had to land a probe onto or an ROV onto a comet and then take a sample home. But if they were doing their work correctly, they would discover the comet's headed straight for Earth. Uh-oh. What are we going to do now?
Wait, what did you have them do then?
Well, then they would brainstorm ways to fix it, or we would facilitate the brainstorm. They always wanted to blow it up, which we would say no, because it might make more pieces and be worse.
Yeah, we're not in Moonfall here.
Yeah, this isn't Moonfall. Basically, they would come up, we would kind of steer them towards the idea of, they had already been building this ROV. Let's keep building it and just land it on the comet and hope that it can push the comet slightly off course.
All right.
And then they would do it, and we would play the video of them saving the Earth. Yay. There is a video of them not saving the Earth that we never played.
But you were prepared, just in case.
But we were prepared if a class really fucks up. No.
What was that video like? Was it all people
that video?
Dying and screaming?
No. It wasn't that dramatic, because I did watch it a few times because I simply could not believe that they made the second option. Because I'm like, even if this is enrichment first, we can just fake it and say, you did it, have a great day.
Yeah, they don't need to know.
No, that one, the ROV would land on the comet and, like, explode itself. Like, the ROV would fail. It's not that you saw the video of the comet hitting Earth. Okay. But never played it in my time there.
Good. I hope they never do.
There was one class where we thought about doing it because they were being really bad. But we were like, I can't ruin this experience
what does that even
for them.
Mean?
We had some classes where, like, the older kids got, the more they wanted to, like, to defy, like, any kind of authority, which, developmentally I get, but I'm like, don't you see? If you just follow the rules at the Space Center, you'll have so much fun. That was always...
You're like, this is my job, man. Like, stop talking back to me. I'm just doing my job.
I think you should leave. There's a sketch where he's like, I'm not trying to make you have the worst day of your life at your job.
But those kids were.
Those kids really were. Hi, it's Corinne. Welcome to this episode's mid-break. We're still on our horse-drawn carriage, and Moiya is feeding the horse a long carrot at the moment, so now's a good time to give a shout-out to our patrons who support this podcast every single month. Thank you, as always, to our sun-like stars, Sharon Llewellyn, Finn, and Peyton, and thank you to our newest pre-main sequence star, Lyle. You can support us, hear your name on the podcast, make it to our patron star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 an episode. The star chart, the Patreon info, and more is at our website, palebluepod.com, or you could go straight to the source, patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support us financially, that is totally fine. We love you. You are still space. Another great way to support us is to share the show with your friends and leave us a rating and review on whatever app you're listening on. And since you listen to Pale Blue Pod, I have to ask, are you looking for a fun, no-pressure way to learn math and science? Check out Brilliant.org. It's the best way to learn math and science interactively online. Brilliant has thousands of lessons in math, science, and data analysis, and they're adding new ones every month. You can enjoy fun storytelling, there's guided problem solving, and you can make a lot of mistakes while playing, and it's still a good time. On Brilliant, your natural curiosity will drive you and not the threat of a test. Brilliant doesn't just teach you facts and formulas, they actually develop your intuition for these subjects through interactive gameplay. Their science courses can help you get a deeper understanding of things we talk about a lot here, like electricity and magnetism and special relativity. Or you can branch out to their classes on geometry, foundational logic. Whatever you learn on Brilliant, you'll have a fun time doing it, and that's what learning is all about. Go to brilliant.org/palebluepod to get a 30-day free trial, and the first 200 people will get 20% off their annual subscription. And finally, I want to recommend another fantastic podcast in the Multitude family. Spirits is a history and comedy podcast focused on everything folklore, mythology, and the occult, told through the lens of feminism, queerness, and modern adulthood. Every week, mythology buff Julia and her childhood best friend Amanda get together to learn about a different story from mythology and folklore over drinks. There's everything from mythological origins of major franchises like Lord of the Rings and Wonder Woman, to modern urban legends, to a roundup of werewolf stories from around the world, and there are episodes that Moiya and I guest on. You can start listening with any of the 300 plus episodes they've released over the last 6 years. Dive in at spiritspodcast.com or search for Spirits wherever you download your podcasts. Okay, I think the horse is done with its carrot, and we're going to get back to our episode.
The specific comet that the Rosetta mission landed on is called 67P/Churyumov-Gerasimenko. I think it's like named after two Russian scientists, I assume. So she was a project scientist for the Rosetta mission, and a project scientist works with engineers and administrators to advocate for the best science instruments possible in the face of budget and technology restrictions.
Sure.
Like, she's the defense lawyer for the instruments, pretty much. And the Rosetta mission taught us a lot about comet formation and solar system evolution. So I'm really glad that it worked and that she was a part of that. But that's not all she did. While she was working on the Rosetta mission, and while she was still working, I think, on the Galileo mission, she was asked to serve as the magnetospheric discipline scientist for the Cassini spacecraft, which was a mission that we sent to study Saturn. So she did a lot. She was working behind the scenes to make sure that these missions got off the ground and that they worked the way they needed to once they were actually orbiting their planets. And I read this interview with Lene Quick, who is now a doctor, but at the time she was a grad student at Johns Hopkins University. And in the interview, Lene asked Claudia what it was like to work on missions for NASA instead of getting a professor job where she would teach and do research. And her response was, quote, "I did not do a postdoc, but I went into the workforce and regretted it immediately.
Aww.
I regretted it for about 10 years. While the money was good, and in parentheses, I was so insulted by the salaries offered a postdoc, I missed out on some critical development." So first of all, yes, I will second that salaries in academia are terrible. You spend 6, on average, years getting a PhD in something and becoming the world's leading expert in your specific field. And then most PhD students will go on to do a postdoc or like a postdoctoral appointment at some other university or research institution. And after being the world expert in some niche field, you get paid like maybe $70,000 a year if you're lucky. Which I know is a lot of money, and I know that there are people who would love to make that. I would love to make that. That's awesome. But considering the amount of time and effort that you've put into schooling to get to that point, it's not enough.
And also, a lot of these like experts are in extremely expensive cities, like New York, San Francisco, Chicago, wherever. Like that, I mean, I am extremely left-wing when it comes to minimum salary requirements, but I'm like, that feels like the baseline living for any person. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it pretty much is. The other terrible thing about postdocs is that you usually are moving from your home institution, like where you did grad school, to somewhere else entirely, and most postdocs last 1 or 2, maybe 3 years.
And then you're looking for another...
And then you're looking for another job, and you're probably going to have to move again. And this is a huge problem.
And also, moving is thousands of dollars.
And most of them don't give support.
Like, immediately subtract that from your salary.
Yeah. It's awful, and people do 2 or 3 postdocs before they get a full-time position as a researcher or a faculty somewhere. And so the system is terrible.
Also, there is so much money in the world, nobody needs to be struggling. There is more than enough.
Eat the rich, eat the sun.
Eat the rich,
that's what
eat
we
the
say.
sun. Absolutely. I did see someone on the Multitude Discord say that we should have like politics-style pins that are like, the moon is for the people. And I'm like, I actually am obsessed with that idea. If we were to sell some very cutie merch.
Yes. I imagine merch in our future like a baseball cap that says "Eat the Sun." Like, wouldn't that be so cute?
Exactly.
A little bib. We can sell bibs that say "Eat the Sun."
A baby bib. The moon is for this baby.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay. I think I'm done with my rant about how shitty the postdoc situation is. But I really... that quote of hers from that interview resonated a lot with me because it's true.
Yeah.
She did have to miss out on some critical development when she chose to forego a postdoc in favor of doing work in the industry and going to work for NASA. And that actually has an effect on her reputation. So in academia, the currency that most people pay attention to is how many papers you publish. So publish or perish culture is very real in that if you don't publish a lot of papers about your research, people won't know about you or your work, and it will be harder for you to get jobs in the future.
Yeah, that seems bad.
Yeah. When she says that she missed out on critical development, she is talking about the fact that she didn't get a lot of experience doing science writing because she went right from grad school into working on these missions. She didn't write a lot of research papers. And so since that's the academic currency, her contributions to the field aren't as visible. And that's why it was harder for both of us, I think, to find a lot of information about her. And that's part of the reason this episode is going to be shorter than a lot of our other episodes. Yeah, so that's the unfortunate thing, that she was, pun intended, instrumental in getting us to understand a lot about Jupiter and Saturn and other parts of the solar system, and yet we don't get to hear about a lot of her work just because she didn't publish papers, which like only 10 people would read anyway. But that is how scientists elevate their platform and their reputation.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the best move to me.
Nope, it's really not. But she did win a few awards, and there are a few awards given out in her honor. I said before that she won the Woman of the Year at University of Michigan in 1992. 10 years later, she won the University of Michigan's Atmospheric, Oceanic, and Space Sciences Alumni Merit Award.
Ooh.
That's good.
Yeah, she's like, it's like the award was made for her.
Truly. In 2003, Alexander was awarded the Emerald Honor for Women of Color in Research and Engineering by a corporation called Career Communications Group Incorporated. They put out a magazine and they have a conference, and they decided to honor her in 2003. In 2007, the Claudia Alexander Scholarship was established at her alma mater, so at University of Michigan, by her cousin. It is a needs-based scholarship for students who study specifically climate or space sciences in the University of Michigan's engineering school. And the American Astronomical Society offers the Claudia J. Alexander Prize to recognize mid-career scientists who have made and continue to make outstanding research contributions advancing our knowledge of planetary systems, including our own solar system. So AAS gives that award out every year.
I love that. I haven't heard the term AAS.
Really? I haven't said that before?
Maybe you have, and I didn't clock it, but...
Yeah. I think I usually try to say it out, American Astronomical Society, but astronomers, we say AAS.
That's so funny. I love it.
Why?
I just think it's funny to like say something that is almost the same length as the original as the original thing.
Honestly, let's count the syllables. AAS has 4. AAS is just 3. If we just called it AAS, it would take less time.
It is easier for the mouth to say AAS. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we can all agree that it's faster than saying the American Astronomical Society.
Yeah, exactly.
As we've said in previous episodes, we are only covering scientists who are not alive, so that we can tell their whole stories, which means, unfortunately, that Dr. Claudia Alexander passed away. She passed away in 2015 after a 10-year-long battle with breast cancer. She definitely died before her time. She was working at NASA on these missions pretty much up until the time she died, and if she hadn't, I'm sure she would still be making amazing contributions to the field. But rest in peace, rest in power, Dr. Alexander, one of the first 30 Black people to get a PhD in an astronomy or physics field in the U.S. So she deserves all of the recognition, all of the flowers that she can possibly get. Yeah, the number's ridiculous.
The numbers are low.
I was number 24. I was the 24th Black woman to get a PhD in astronomy or physics in the U.S.
Really? And not even like at Columbia or at Harvard?
No.
Whoa, that's so small.
It's very small. And so she's a pioneer. She is an icon. She is someone to look up to. And I'm really glad that we got to cover her work on the pod.
Me too. I have to read her book.
Her books?
Windows to Adventure, the books.
And her short story, I would definitely, I'll include, if I can find it, I'll include a link to her short story in this week's research notes for sure.
Love it.
But to wrap up the episode, I wanted to do a fun little activity with you, Corinne. I want to talk about Dr. Alexander's papers, but I also want to make fun of the fact that not just her papers, but most academic papers have real stupid titles.
Yeah.
And so I will read out 8 different paper titles. And Corinne, your job is to tell me if it's an actual paper title by Claudia Alexander, or is this just a random combination of words that I made up?
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
I had so much fun with these. Okay, the first is shock distribution in the fluvial fields of Europa's crust.
Okay, fluvial is such an odd word to me. So I'm going to say that one's not real.
Okay, you are correct.
Yay!
That one's not real. But fluvial is a real word.
Fluvial is a real word, okay.
People study fluvial fields. All of these words are real, but together they are complete and total nonsense.
Okay.
Shock distribution, what? Of fluvial fields. Fluvial means like the flow of something down a path.
Okay.
So like as
when
a
we talk
river.
fluids.
Yeah. Of Europa's crust. Europa's crust is made of ice. It doesn't have fluvial fields. Things aren't flowing. So.
Yeah, I was thinking of this one felt strange to me because I'm like, shock distribution to me implies like an earthquake or some kind of like core quake. Mm-hmm. Also, fluvial sounds crazy.
Yeah. It's an actual word, but I really like where your mind's at. You have good intuition for this.
Let's see if I can keep it up.
Okay, the next one. Shuffling foot points and magnetohydrodynamic discontinuities in the solar wind. I can read that again if you need.
Yeah, I'm going to need that one again.
Okay, I'll do it slower this time. Shuffling foot points and magnetohydrodynamic discontinuities in the solar wind.
Okay, I'm going to say that's real.
Why?
Because it sounds so weird.
Cool. Yes, it is real.
To me, it was like there's no art to this sentence. So, like, I think that would mean it's real.
Oh my God. You know what? That might be a good way to go through this. There's no art in this sentence. You're like, Moiya's so artsy. She would make it sound good.
She would make it sound better. Something that I could say to a friend. Like, this is a group of words that you can't remember.
Yeah,
like,
not at all.
There's no flow to it.
There's no fluvial flow.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a real paper. It came out in the Journal of Geophysical Research in 1991, so I think it was like at the tail end of her PhD work. Mm-hmm. And I read the abstract, and in it they found that there are relatively more tangential discontinuities as opposed to rotational discontinuities in solar wind that originates in close field regions than there are in solar winds that originate in open field regions.
Okay.
Do I know what that means? No, not really. I think what it's saying is that there are more of these discontinuities in the solar wind closer to the sun than further out in the solar system.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know exactly what those types of continuities are or what the difference between them might be. But sure. it is a real paper.
Okay.
Good job. Option C. Tangential discontinuities in the solar wind, correlated field and velocity changes in the Kelvin-Helmholtz instability.
Okay, well, you just told me that there are tangential discontinuities.
Yes, but did I just recycle? Did I just repurpose
that term?
Yeah,
but now I'm thinking you were like, you did this on purpose. I'm going to say it's not real because we're name dropping an instability here.
It is real.
Oh,
it is real.
Happens.
Yeah, she did a lot of stuff with tangential discontinuities in the solar wind. This one was
a niche.
Yeah, it's good for people to know what you're about.
Yeah.
This was also published in the Journal of Geophysical Research, but earlier in 1986, and this one had to do. Basically what they found was that the change in direction for both velocity and magnetic fields in the solar wind are aligned with each other, and it is because of the Kelvin-Helmholtz instability.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So this paper was like, these two things that we think should be related to each other, they are related to each other.
Good. You need
Good.
to explicitly say it sometimes.
Honestly, yes. I mean, it is good to publish null or obvious results in science, because otherwise different people will spend time and energy trying to answer that same question. So even if it feels like a very small result, you should publish it. Yeah.
I love that.
All right, option D. Making cosmic ray waves, Beetle-Hoffman instabilities in the Roche lobe of the co-moving heliosphere.
Not real.
That's not real. I made words up. The Beetle-Hoffman instability is not a thing.
That name is actually too easy to say.
Oh, you're right. I should have made it harder. I knew when I was coming up with this, I was like, I know I want it to end in Hoffman for some reason, but like Beetle just came to mind, and I was like, I want to study the Beetle-Hoffman instability.
It sounds like they're a great team.
Yes. Also, just like in the Roche lobe of the co-moving heliosphere, the Roche lobe, or the Roche limit, is how far away are you from a massive object before you're no longer dominated by its gravity. And a co-moving heliosphere, the heliosphere is technically the full extent of our solar system. It is how far the sun's gravitational influence extends. But a co-moving heliosphere doesn't make any sense. What's it co-moving with?
This is so funny to me, Moiya, that they are nonsense words, like to me because they are words I don't know, and to you because you know the meanings and like they don't make sense in context.
Yes. Oh, I had so much fun with this. Okay. You were right. That is not a real paper. The next one is interplanetary magnetic field control of the Venus magnetosheath field and bow shock location. Want me to read it again?
Yeah, read it again.
Okay. Interplanetary magnetic field control of the Venus magnetosheath field and bow shock location.
I think real.
Yeah, that's real. Why do you think it's real?
Again, because it has the cadence of the other one that was real.
Okay. Fair.
But I'm really going off gut here, and I'm not always right.
Look, your gut has not led you wrong so far. It is indeed a real paper, and it was published in Advances in Space Research in 1986. They studied ions in Venus's atmosphere to see how its magnetic field is distributed, because ions are charged particles, and so they should follow the shape of the magnetic field. And what they found is that Venus's magnetic field is asymmetric, and that has to do with the way Venus's magnetic field interacts with the solar wind.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I love the word magnetosheath field. That is one word. That's one word in the paper title.
Big word.
Why would they do that? I feel like they easily could have.
Sounds like a superhero word. Yeah.
It does. Like they could have split that up. They did. Magnetohydrodynamics. I understand. It's long, but it's all connected. Magnetosheath field. What is the sheath? What are you talking? Why? You're 5 for 5. Number 6. This is called shear force. That's SHEAR. So it's a like shear force. Not. It's gonna sound the same way no matter. But it's SHEAR, not SHEER. Shear force in adjacently counter-rotating molecular hydroplumes.
Not real.
No, that's not real. You did it. Okay, so shear force is the force between two moving fluids or two objects that are moving past each other but going in opposite directions. So that's shear force. In adjacently counter-rotating molecular hydroplumes. So what I was trying to get you to think this was a paper about the bands across Jupiter, because I was like, these adjacent bands moving in opposite directions are made of molecules, and then hydroplumes was just like a nonsense word.
I get it.
Also, Jupiter doesn't have hydroplumes. It doesn't have plumes at all, and if it did, they wouldn't be hydro because there's not enough water in Jupiter's atmosphere.
Duh.
Shear force. Hydroplumes. I crack myself up, and that is what matters.
That is important.
Okay, number 7. Language of Science as a Bridge to Native American Educators and Students.
Real.
This is a deviation. Yes, it is real. It is real.
Did Claudia write this?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So this isn't a paper per se, but it's like a report that was part of the outreach work she was doing with the Rosetta mission.
Okay.
The Rosetta mission, named after the Rosetta Stone, was meant to serve as like a translator between our current knowledge and knowledge of the early solar system. And so they made a lot of their outreach had to do with the language part of it, where they were trying to make connections between different cultures. And so in 2010, Claudia Alexander wrote this report on a project that she was getting involved with. And it's part of the Rosetta mission, and I quoted from the report, "One of our lessons learned is that finding people who are bilingual, who have an understanding of Western science and traditional knowledge, are key to making the cross-cultural connections work," which is very true. Because what they were doing with this program was they took a bunch of quote-unquote NASA words, so things like cell phone or rocket launch or like comet, and they had indigenous people come in and kind of translate those NASA words into words in indigenous languages and into like concepts from indigenous storytelling.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and so that one of their findings is kind of obvious, but it's we need someone who knows both NASA stuff and indigenous stuff in order to do this translation.
Yeah.
Which is like, duh. But yay, I'm glad you figured that out. That was from 2010. And our last one, contact tension in the absence of non-Newtonian symmetrical pressure.
Not real.
Damn it, Corinne, that's not real.
Really? Oh my God, that was a true guess. That was just, well, we got to flip the coin.
I was hoping I'd throw you off because you'll see in the notes, I wrote a fifth thing. So for the listeners, we have notes for this episode, and I wrote out the titles of all the papers, and then below that I put notes on their abstract, and 4 of these titles were actual papers, 4 of them I made up, but I wrote 5 notes, and the last one says...
Oh, that's giving me so much credit, Moiya, because I'm like not doing the math to even know which question we're on.
I really wanted to trick you. So the note for the last made-up paper is apparently in this abstract, they learned that forces are applied to the surface until the crust cracks. And I was like, Corinne might see that and think it's a real paper, but no, I couldn't trick you. It is in fact made up.
I appreciate that. That's really funny.
Wow, 8 for 8. You didn't get a single one wrong.
I got the Kelvin Helmholtz right? Oh, wow, good for me.
You did, because you were like, oh, that's a real instability that we've talked about before. Next time, I guess I need to get better at coming up with fake paper titles.
Maybe I'm channeling, like, some kind of energy, some academic history.
The spirit of Dr. Alexander is moving through you as we speak.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for playing that little game. Next time, I'm gonna catch you. I will eventually.
Yeah, you'll get me. I know you will. And this is actually a great time to stop because we've been on this horse carriage for a while, and I'm sure this is a lot of cash we're gonna have to pay in a minute.
Oh, you're right. Well, that's okay. Pale Blue Pod is paying for it.
The loads of money.
Oh yeah.
There's enough to go around. I've said it.
There really is. None of us have to suffer.
Well, wherever you are in your personal horse carriage ride, I hope you remember that you are space.
Yeah, you are. Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.